1. Let's go. Okay, we're back with another condensed go game, another little quickie for you. And today's game is all about getting them chunks because it's not about the big moves in this game. Looking back through it, it's from a few years ago. Wasn't a lot of big moves. I'm just getting chunks. I'm tearing off 10 points, 20 points, just trying to get little groups and survive. So let's get into it and look at them chunks. Oh yeah. All right, so we're playing as black 9k up against white who is 10k. And get out of draw mode for 1 second. All right, I take the upper right corner and we'll get into it. Bottom lower corner, white gets aggressive. All right, look at that. We'll stop right there. 9 moves in. I got that chunk. He can still attack this, kind of come around those 2 black stones and come around trying to eat up some space. But generally speaking, with 3 plays, I have a chunk. I got a first little chunk right in that bottom corner. And what do? I don't worry about it too much. You don't have to overextend it when there's all these huge open spaces on the board. I start going for another chunk there on the left-hand side. Fast forward. There we go. 2 more moves. Look at that. We got a nice little base. Not guaranteed to be safe, but honestly probably is, right? It's in good shape. He's not attacking too hard. We can almost leave that alone now. We got another little chunk. And he does attack it, and fair enough. We'll just speed through some games. We'll make this one nice and quick. This one's more about the big moves. We're not talking, and by big moves I mean the theme, not the big moves, because this is little tiny moves, little chunks. Slow it down right here. So now we've kind of firmed up this bottom left-hand corner. That's basically safe. That's a solid chunk. That's not a small chunk. It's a decent little chunk. But we also got this little group over here, right? Again, he's kind of attacked it from the middle, trying to sneak in there, but more or less. Again, not guaranteed, but probably safe. All right, and continue. I do a little attacking on him. All right, so like I said, they're not really worth worrying about anymore. I could come out, but what am I doing by jumping out to what's that, E11? I'm only going to gain a couple more points by doing that, right? I'm taking my sort of the perimeter of my group out a little bit. Whereas this corner completely untouched. I don't have to worry about this chunk. Let's start a new one, right? So he responds, and fair enough. Right there. Within 2 moves, I ignored this group over here on the left. Figured, it's safe. 2 moves later, right here, we got this corner. That's, again, not guaranteed to be safe, but probably fine. So now we have a total of 3 chunks. He's got sort of a chunk up here. That's pretty open, though. I can definitely, hop into the 3-3 and attack that. And he's got a chunk here, but not a lot of territory. He's only captured a few empty spots, right? So overall, I'm already winning this game. You look at the circle that again. We look at the AI's interpretation here of what is happening. It's giving me the advantage already. And if you look ahead, you can see how this plays out. But we'll play it out anyway because that's what we like to do. All right, 1 more move. I've extended my chunk. At this point, it's worth it. Not to get the chunk, but really to fight off this group of 2 white stones from taking that spot and getting its own chunk. Because he's probably going to respond to that. We're putting pressure on those 2 while expanding this larger group on the left. Sure enough, he responds just as you would expect. Play this out a handful more moves. He got a little aggressive and split me right here. He's cut these 2 stones off, and actually it looks like he's going to take those. That's a nice move on his part. Yeah, because I take them, he takes them back. So fair enough. He took a few, not a big deal. I still ended up with the whole bottom left-hand side of the board. I still have this bottom right-hand corner, and I've started another group up there, which has a little bit of running to do to survive, but is what it is. All right, fast-forwarding a handful more moves here. And, all right, we'll pause it there. Bottom right-hand corner, firmed up. That's real nice, real safe and nice. He can't really attack it. Pretty much put that in the books as a chunk, again, with that chunk at the bottom left. Another one up there. 3 solid chunks, and I'm working on my 4th. He has sort of 1 big one. It's all right. It's no big deal. The point of this game isn't, looking through it again. It's not connecting these up. I'm not going for huge chunks of territory at a time. I'm trying to win half the board, right? I'm just 10 points, 20 points. Let's get a bit more, and just slowly build up that way. So he gets aggressive. Oh, so he actually looks, he might have won some space down here. All right, he threw in. Might have fought me off a little bit. Kudos to you, sir. Kudos. But moving on. Just keep on going. All right, stop it there. We got a couple more chunks. A few more moves up here. It was more or less untouched. With 3 moves, he can attack up there, but again, it's not worth playing here to be extra cautious, or here, something like that. We got 3 stones to his 1. We have the corner. It's probably fine to leave it alone and attack a bigger space, like out this in the middle of the board here where there's nothing, right? So what do we do? So he jumps out, right? He's getting a chunk of his own. Can't blame him. And there we go. Within a couple moves, I've taken basically the center of that upper portion of the board. And again, still attack worthy up here and lots of space out in the middle. But I took a chunk. And again, I'm not overly worried about connecting these up, right? Because I also have this chunk, and there's a bit of open space in there, and he does have some exposure. He could jump in, maybe do something, and I'm not too worried about that. Just redraw these here. So I got this chunk up in the left. Sorry, upper right. Left and right, I know those. I got that one. Smaller group here, not super successful, but there's still room to spill out. Again, another little one over here, and we got the bottom left-hand side of the board. 5 groups, all relatively safe. I don't think he's going to kill any of those off, and maybe we can connect them up. And that's a good point to remember. You can build this like a group up here and then a group down here, and then within 1 or 2 moves, you can seal that right up, and then all of a sudden that's one huge group. So that's one thing you can do with your strategy is focus on a little group, make sure it's safe and going to live. To the point where you can jump off and go somewhere else, and then come back and reconnect them and worry about some of those bigger moves. And sometimes you can use a little misdirection, throw people off what you're trying to do by doing that. And moving on. What else have we got? Look at that. I've been talking about that upper left-hand corner not being on lockdown. I can't talk. What's going on? He left a lot of space up there, so I attack it. And what's the theme of today's video is taking chunks. Look at that. So that was probably he was thinking, right? I got the corner. Look at me. I got the upper left. I'm awesome. No, I'm going to take a chunk up there. I'm going to take like 12, 15 points just by throwing in, forcing him to move around. And now I have another 2 stones out here that can start to make their own little chunk. Pardon me. And, his chunk isn't defined. I mean, mine isn't either. It's only 2 stones. And he's got this line here, but is it connecting to this stone? Or is it connecting over here to this stone? Does he want the left? Or does he want the top and sort of connect up to these? It's not totally clear. And sometimes that's okay, but I'm a little more clear on what I'm doing here. I want that corner. I want this bit on the side. And I'm probably going to want something in there. Carrying on. Here we go. Sure enough, playing it just like that. Again, not a huge chunk of territory. It's not huge. That's not like 30, 40 points. That's like, what's that, 4? We got like an 8 and a 10 and a 12. Again, it's like 12 points, maybe 15, somewhere in there. He can seal that up a little bit. He can attack. Again, it's not fully alive. It's not guaranteed that I save this group. He could attack it in a way that maybe kills it off. I don't know. That's above my pay grade, but it's probably fine, right? We can reinforce it if he attacks it, but it's worth jumping somewhere else that really needs the attention. He's going down here. I don't know. It looks like I maybe misplayed something there. I think he ends up taking some of my stones there that he should not have. Bad plays. Anyway, it's okay. Actually, I was going to say, because at this point we're way ahead, but we're not. If you look at the AI here, it's basically a coin flip. So he's crawled his way back here. Kudos again to you, sir. All right, skipping ahead. Just sealing some things up here, right? I took what was a small group on the bottom, expanded it out, and now it's connected to this group that was up here, right? It wasn't previously connected. Now it's extra safe, which is connected even further over to these guys. Maybe I can kill those 3 off. Probably not. He's just got 1 move. He can kill off my 3 stones there. This group here, which is totally isolated and insulated by his larger circle of white stones, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be safe. And this is looking more and more like I have pretty much the whole right-hand side of the board. It's still, again, a little bit open in there. He could sneak in, but probably going to take it. Up here. So, not a lot of big groups. Maybe save for that right-hand side, but little groups, just groups in general. We want chunks. So skipping ahead, what do we got? What do we got? Oh, what happened there? Let's back up here a little bit. He looks like he may have put himself in trouble. He jumped in to split my groups off. I connected up. But by doing that, yeah, he's left himself vulnerable. He missed that, right? By playing there, put him into Atari. Even though, actually, I take the bet. He's still safe there if he's in Atari, right? What happened? So, skipping. I jumped in. Oh, he misplayed it. That's what it was. I jumped in. He could have played. Actually, no, I take that back. It didn't matter. He could play there, but then he's still down to 1 Liberty. I kill him off. Didn't matter where he played. That was. I missed that for a long time then, too. It looks like that was open for like 10 moves, and I could have taken that. But at least I caught it eventually. He responds, kill him off. Bam! Again. What was a little group? And a little group. And a little group. That's all one group now, right? That's all one group. Exactly what I was saying. Sneaking around there. This is all kind of one perimeter. That's all one group. And it started off as 3, at least 3, maybe 4 little groups. Connecting those up, becoming one big group, and really putting the pressure on him. And I could do that because I knew each one of these was safe. I could attack with them and not have to worry about trying to survive and defend at the same time. There we go. Seal off that right-hand side. Just took one move, and all of a sudden, he can't really... Maybe he can throw in there and cause some havoc. I don't know. I'd say I have that on lockdown now, that whole right-hand side of the board. Skipping ahead. I got the upper left now, fully and completely, and indubitably. And now, I only had that... I didn't even necessarily have the upper right? He could have snuck around the corner. Around these 2 black stones. He didn't do that, but I did. So my little group of what was holding this down for the longest time was 3 stones. Now, sneaking around the corner and expanding, and that, again, all one group. Real nice. Skipping ahead. Okay, he throws in, gets aggressive. I kill him off, not too worried. Okay, I lose a couple in there. Some battles is what it is. You gotta give some to get some. And we can probably fast forward this to the end. At this point, little kill, handful more moves. He gets aggressive on the right-hand side, and that's it. We both passed, and black was the winner of this game by an estimated score of 71 points. That's a lot. There you go. So that's the power of chunks. That is the power of chunks. You want them. You want those chunks. Started off as a little chunk, and a little chunk, and a little chunk. I got that whole right-hand side of the board. Mind you, I lost the bottom left. But the point of this is, look at this group over here. This started out as, now it's got the upper. That was at least 4 groups. 4 totally separate, small, safe, and comfy groups. And now that's all one group. And I have killed off, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I killed off this group. Whoops. So that's, I mean, yeah, like I said, 4 or 5 groups. You make sure they're safe, and then you can attack from those groups, and you don't have to worry about defense. And you don't have to worry about overextending yourself into a spot where they can sneak in behind you and cut you off, and you're not truly safe. It's kind of the reverse of big moves. It's a little more conservative of an approach, I would say, but it certainly worked in this game. You know, you win by 70 points. So ended up with 3 groups, and I had like 4, 5, 6 groups early on in the game. So anyway, all that to say, get them chunks, and we'll see you in the next game.